Today I'm going to blind react to one of your wedding horror stories. I have so many submissions from you guys that I cannot possibly get through them quick enough. So today I thought it'd be fun to just randomly pick a number and read them off, and we're gonna learn about the story at the same exact time. I have 65 wedding stories, so I'm gonna just put into Google, give me a random number between 1 and 65, and this is going to tell us our fate. Here we go. My husband and I got married and then had a big wedding a year later. He was deployed. The best man wanted to throw a bachelor party the Thursday before the wedding in Kansas City. I told them no because he was over 2 hours away from where we lived and where we were having the wedding. Both my husband and I decided to just have a night out in the town where we lived that Thursday, since his family was flying in that day, and one of the bridesmaids was also flying in that day. At the end of the night, we all ended up at the same bar, and my husband and I decided to Uber home together. The best man got upset and threw a huge fit about saying that the groom isn't supposed to go home at the end of his bachelor party because that isn't tradition. He started going off about how horrible I was and I didn't deserve the wedding we were paying for. What? The audacity. Oh my gosh. Sounds like the best man wanted this more for a night of himself, not about celebrating the groom going into a wedding. After trying to stop a fight between him, my husband, and the 2 other groomsmen, we ended up kicking him out of the wedding, promoting another guy, having my bridesmaid's husband reprint the wedding programs, and making sure he wouldn't show up to the wedding 36 hours before our wedding. To this day, almost 6 years later, we have not heard from him. Ooh, that was short but sweet. So many things to say there. I think, and I've seen it before, sometimes groomsmen, bridesmaids make the event more about them than the actual bride and groom. They think it's this like fun vacation, party, and it should be all of those things, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you're there to celebrate the bride and groom and what they want. It's not just to spin it around and to make it into this big party that's everything you want. I think it needs to be very clear, set ahead of time, like what is expected of the best man. And my feeling is they probably had some red flags beforehand. Usually what I try to tell people is usually these don't all just come out at the wedding. Usually there's little things that come out before they're even asked to be in the wedding, and you might have like questioned it, and then the wedding just brings out the worst in people. People's true colors truly come out then. Because I had a girl not that long ago comment and say, you know, she just got engaged and she's worried about this happening. If you are worried, there might be signs already there. But if you have like great friends that have been supportive to both you and your husband, the chance of them like having a complete 180 is very slim, at least in my own experience. Of course it can happen. But that's crazy. Okay, since that one was so short, let's just throw in another little bonus one and see what we got here. So that was 51. Let's do another little random. All right, number 28. Okay guys, this is a long one. Here's a fun story for you. I cried on the way to my hotel from my wedding because of my now mother-in-law. Background: I've known my husband for years. My sister-in-law was my closest friend from middle school and high school, and she set me up with her older brother, my now husband. Their mother is divorced and can be very bitter about other couples and long marriages. This is important later. Ooh, big red flags already. I did my best to include my mother-in-law and sister-in-law in the wedding planning, but my mother-in-law didn't really want anything to do with it, or anything to do with my parents, married 29 years at the time. How? So many words I could say, but how rude. Like, just because your marriage didn't last, you're now gonna don't want to even interact with people that were married a long time. Dress shopping was a bit awkward with my parents and her there, as she mostly ignored what my parents said to her. When we went to the venue tasting, my husband and I could bring 4 guests, 2 from each side. We decided we only wanted parents there, and father-in-law was not involved in my husband's life, so we would only have 3, my parents and his mom. His mom was upset because my sister-in-law is a picky eater. She tried demanding that my sister-in-law be there for food tasting, but my mom and I knew if that happened, my sister-in-law would be picking the whole menu. Yeah, that was smart, because I think when there's someone that's super picky like that, you're gonna end up picking food around what they like, and then you kind of lose sight of what's important to you and your husband. I stood firm, and at the tasting, mother-in-law was making rude, underhanded comments and kept saying sister-in-law won't like this or that. My husband finally told her that sister-in-law can pick for her wedding, but this is ours. Yay, husband, that's awesome. My mother-in-law also wasn't happy that our son decided to invite his father, and she hates him because they cheated on each other. So it sounds like both of them had issues. He actually wasn't even an issue at the wedding. She said if he was there, he had to sit the farthest table from her, and at the back of the ceremony. Yikes, okay. Next, when it came to setting up, my husband's entire family was absent, and my family had to do everything. Mother-in-law later said it's because we didn't include her in anything. We included her in everything. So she felt like she had no reason to be at setup. Again, making it about herself, not actually wanting to help. Come that night at the rehearsal dinner, she and my sister-in-law showed up late, which should have told me how the next day at the wedding was going to be. Yep, we get those gut feelings for a reason. Next line tells us everything. Wedding day. Buckle up. Wedding day starts with me going to the salon we rented out. Everyone was there except my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who didn't say they weren't joining us and had even originally said they were going to be there. I spent time trying to get a hold of them, only to have them call my husband, who found out through his mom that they booked themselves at a different salon. Here we go. I go and get ready, and everyone is ready to start pictures except my sister-in-law, because she and mother-in-law were late because they booked a later salon time. We ended up having to change things around the photo order to accommodate the delay. Ooh, as a planner, that drives me crazy. Like, this is not your day. Even if your makeup's half done, you got somewhere to be. Let's go, let's go. After we got it all set, it was wedding time. My mother-in-law wasn't looking well, and it turned out she was already drunk and had taken something. Taken something? What are we talking about here? She wore sunglasses down the aisle walking in, even though we said no sunglasses because the space was shady and sunglasses would look tacky. The ceremony went relatively well until it was the family picture time after. My mother-in-law was leaning on my husband for every picture and tried to step between my husband and I. Oh no, what? But my husband didn't let her. Good on the husband. That's hard when it's your family pushing against your new family. Again, I've said this before, I've never had to deal with it personally, but I've seen so many stories now, I can only imagine how difficult that is. But props to the husband for just being like, nope, not today. When it was his family's time for a picture, 3 women from his family were wearing mostly white dresses, which I decided to just let go because I already had enough stress happening. Yeah, I wouldn't even bother at that point. Reception time. This could be a whole series. I might have to do that. Dances were supposed to go first dance. We did a lightsaber duel into the dance, then father dance, then mother and son dance. After mother and son dance, it was supposed to be anniversary dances. Then my husband and I would open the dance floor. Well, my mother-in-law went to the DJ and told her that I said we were going to be cutting down due to a timing issue, so I wanted to cancel the anniversary dance and let her and my husband open the dance floor. The audacity of changing someone else's schedule, acting like you are most important and you know what's better. I was unaware until it happened. When it did happen, my husband didn't bring me to the dance floor because my mother-in-law told him I knew what was happening. Oh no. Instead of going to the dance floor, I went to the bar and chugged a glass of wine and started on another before my husband realized I was not happy and did not know what happened. I had to tell the DJ the anniversary dance was not to be canceled and that we were still going to do it. Mother-in-law hates that idea of long marriages because hers ended so poorly. While the anniversary dance was going on, she danced next to the dance floor with the best man to undermine the dance. Again, making it about her. My husband ended up going off on her and telling her to sit down, and he was so frustrated that she went out of her way to upset me on our wedding day. This poor bride and groom. Like, that is terrible. When everything was all said and done, I ended up crying on the way to the hotel, and my husband decided I needed food to help make me happy. We went to Applebee's at 11:30 p.m. in our wedding attire and just sat and laughed how terrible things went. Okay, I just thought that. I love that you guys were like, you know what? We can't change what already happened. Let's just go get some food in our wedding attire and enjoy time together. Because at that point, you really just need to make the best of it and remember what this whole thing is about. You two started your next journey, next chapter together. Ignore all the drama. Then we drove to the hotel, had a great night together, and even did a little dance in our hotel room before getting out of our wedding outfits and going to bed. Hope you enjoyed. I love how you ended that on a high note with just your husband. I'm sure there's lots of more drama to come. If you guys have not limited contact, I'm not really sure what happened here, but I feel like if this is how the wedding day went, I can only guess how things continued through your relationship. If you see some red flags ahead of time, I feel like it might only get worse. But the fact that the husband stood by her side, backed her up, and stood up for her is huge. That's what you need your husband or groom to do if something like this goes on. Because too many times we hear the bride is left all by herself. She's upset, it's her fault she's upset, it's her fault for tension. And so I love how this ended. This whole thing is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And I hate that that's the memory of their wedding day. But they ended it like so beautifully together that I feel like their relationship is going to remain strong and just be a beautiful marriage as long as they have those strong boundaries with people that try to bring it down. All right, guys, that was me blind reacting to 2 different wedding stories. If you guys like this and want to see more of it, let me know and I will do more in the future. But until then, thanks for hanging out with me. If you've not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe right here, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys. His best man was flying in from Alaska to Kansas City. Okay, I need to do this again.